there have been many large-scale cyber attacks on Google, a lot of top American companies, defense companies, all types, including the US government. Is this the future of espionage, and how does the US counter it?
There's no question that technology has changed so much. It isn't just the intelligence community, it's the cultures of the world, it's the knowledge of the world. We're afloat in information. We don't know what's true and what's not. When we talk about technology, we have to recognize that we have created an extraordinary dependency on tools that we never used before. Whether you like it or not, you are now part of the digital world, the web world. You have to be. It affects your driving, it affects your finance, it affects your food supply, it affects your utility supply. It's everywhere. And with that extraordinary dependency comes a vulnerability. How vulnerable is the grid system, are the grid systems? How vulnerable is the web system? How vulnerable is the overhead architecture? And the answer is very simply, very vulnerable. Now, vulnerable to hackers, you measure the amount of hacks attempts a day in the tens of thousands right now. It's huge. They're not all, hugely serious, obviously, but there are people all the time pecking away at it, trying to find a way in to get something. So you've got the hacking problem. You've got the fragility of the overhead system, which is very susceptible to certain types of attack, and I'm aware that we're sitting here among friends, but I'm also aware that when you speak to an audience like this, you're speaking to the world these days because of this very technology. So there's no such thing as talking out of both sides of your mouth, as people in Washington are beginning to find out. And it is a very good thing to be aware that we don't want to give our enemies any more encouragement or channels to come in and exploit the freedoms we have in this country, which creates some vulnerabilities for our technological systems and the way we talk and do our business in a free, democratic, open society. The worst part of this is not the fragility or the hacking and all of that. It's really now the assurance and the verification. You cannot be certain, if you're getting a message now, that it's actually coming from where you think it is. If you're getting a message, you cannot actually be sure that the message is the message that that person sent or that organization sent. So we're in a position now where you have to be very discerning and reconfirm, did that actually happen? Now, would this make a difference? I can tell you the closest I've ever seen the atomic clock, or the whatever clock we call it, that is the doomsday clock, coming to hitting midnight, is mistaken messages. People who got the wrong message. We almost had nuclear war a number of years ago. I think this is a matter of public record, but I won't be too specific. But certain countries, certain countries over in sort of the cold Scandinavian area set up some signals, and they got mistaken, and we took one thing and the Russians mistook it, and suddenly we're at DEFCON disaster. And it took a lot of straightening out, and thank God we had the old phone to say, did you guys really do this? And it was all a mistake. And it's the missed message. Now, if you think it can't happen today, there used to be a guy named Saddam Hussein. And if you think he didn't mix his message and hear us the wrong way and mistake exactly what we were saying, then you probably can understand why he isn't here anymore. He got it way wrong. He pulled his bluff for his audience, and it really bit him. So the mixed message problem is something we are very, very concerned about. That's the way you start trouble. You have a little bit of, and I won't bring the media into this because Fox would never be guilty of this, but you do have something goes on, a bad scare. It might be Asian flu, it might be Ebola, it might be anything. And then all of a sudden, you're hearing all of these things, and people start tweeting and going back and forth, and the message is going around the globe. What's true and what isn't? Are we safe or aren't we safe? This has created an angst and an anxiety, and it comes at a time in our own country when we are questioning our own government. Do you trust this? Do you believe this? Even the President Obama, a couple of years ago, at the State of the Union address, impressed me very much when he got up and said, one of our biggest problems trying to run the country now is confidence. People don't trust each other in government. And it's true. It is absolutely dysfunctional in Washington. I can say, after 16 years in Congress, I have never seen a deeper abyss of misunderstanding, willful misunderstanding. Every word's radioactive. And this is whole question of this new technology, the way we do business, who we are, who we trust, where our confidence lies, is part of the beginning of this century, and the technology are the tools that are bringing these challenges to the fore.